Look, let's move on now because it is game on when it comes to energy policy in this country. The coalition has confirmed it will take nuclear to the election and build a leading nuclear edge generator as a zero emissions power source. Tania, do you think that this is a vote winner?
Yeah, I do. And can I just congratulate the federal coalition for finally seeing some sense in this, and I hope the New South Wales coalition follow, because at this stage I don't think it's their policy. Look, Australia has the leading, deposits of uranium. We've got the most, uranium deposits in the world.
Yeah.
We should be capitalising on this. We should be at the forefront of nuclear energy, and we've got the opportunity to do that. What we're doing instead is we're seeing Labor governments essentially stuck in the 80s, okay, with their mindset when it comes to nuclear. They're stuck in the 80s. But what they don't understand is a lot of young people out there now are actually considering and thinking, well, why aren't we looking at nuclear? They didn't grow up in the era of Chernobyl, so they haven't been damaged by all the propaganda around that, right? And so they actually think, well, hang on, it's free of emissions, it's potentially cost effective, there's great opportunities, and I think the coalition has been smart enough to jump on this. I know One Nation, we've certainly been a long-time supporters of nuclear energy as a source of energy. And I think it is a vote winner. I think people are waking up to the fact that you can't just put all your eggs into one basket when it comes to renewable energy for the future, and nuclear is the way to go.
Well, Craig, as we said, the coalition is pushing for Australia to join 31 other countries in producing nuclear power. But just to go on Tania's point there have been already so many warnings that Australia will struggle to achieve that net zero by 2050 target if we do it on renewables alone. So is it time to look at an alternative power source, energy source?
Yeah, it's really interesting. So my first question is, if we had have moved earlier and not been arguing about renewables, would we not be having this conversation? The point is we need to look at the context of how we actually got here, right? And all of a sudden we're saying, well, we don't have any time. I think, people need to be held accountable for that. Secondly, I think that Australians, certainly I am open to the conversation, but I am concerned. I'm not an expert on it, but I think I would be in the middle ground saying, look, Chernobyl, for example, Tania, you talked about the propaganda of Chernobyl. I mean, that wiped out a whole city, right? And the other thing about it...
There's a lot of explanations to why that happened, Craig, let's be honest, right?
Okay. Well, I'm not an expert on Chernobyl. I just think that... But what I'll say is that, and what I read about US, about France, about elsewhere, is that the cost blowouts and the time blowouts on bringing these things to life are extreme.
Yeah.
It's like it's 18 billion in France, or it might be UK, one of them. Don't quote me.
Well, they say it could take 25
and they're saying 48 billion and so on.
Yeah.
So the real question is...
Renewables are costly too, Craig, you've got to remember that. I mean, we're investing billions of dollars into renewables as well, and it's all... everything costs, right? Ultimately, what I think is happening in some...
But I think the safety of renewables is also something that most Australians will be much more comfortable with. But given the circumstances, I think you have to have the conversation.
Sure.
But it just has to be based on the reality of whether these is it a potential small backup, for example, which I've heard it being talked about.
But we've got the most deposits of uranium in Australia.
But we've also got the most sun in Australia. We've got the most sun in the world.
We've
got the most sun and the most wind.
That as a potential resource.
I was in Queensland last week, Tania. I had zinc on like you wouldn't believe. I had so much zinc on. I was working. I was sweating buckets.
Why are the energy prices so high then? Why are the energy prices so high?
It is so
Tell me why they're so high.
Yeah, we're turning off our appliances in the middle of a heat wave.
Why are we costing? Why is energy costing so much?
That's it. No, that's it. But look, you know what? Energy is game on, and it's going to be a key policy between now and an election. So one to watch. But I want to talk about supermarkets because this is a real shocker. They've been accused of pressuring fruit growers to slash their prices so they can cut prices in stores. The Senate inquiry into supermarkets has been told that one unnamed supermarket giant recently boasted to shoppers it was dropping the prices on fruit from $3.50 to $2.50 per bag. But then behind closed doors, it pressured its fruit suppliers to heavily cut their own prices to fund the promotion. Tania, this is a shocking, shocking revelation.
It is, and I've got to give credit to the National Farmers Federation, Mr Griffiths, who actually came out in that particular article and has made it so clear that it's time to actually hold these supermarket executives accountable, I think. It really is. There are so many aggressive practices that we're seeing now, and all these Senate inquiries, and indeed I'm sure the ACCC inquiry that will start shortly, they've just issued their paper, and there'll be plenty of opportunities for the growers, the farmers and everybody to come out, and so they should, to actually reveal the type of aggressive practices that are happening behind closed doors by the retail giants. And what we do need to do is it's the ACCC, the power lies with them. They need to be given the power, but you can't just give a fine to these supermarkets. You've got to look at making the supermarket executives accountable.
Absolutely. We've only got 30 seconds left.
Okay, I need 4 words. I need 4 words. I'm going to say to Tania, I agree with you.
That's the only thing we can agree on tonight.
There's hope for you yet.
There's hope for you yet. Well, look, I tell you what a great debate we've had tonight.
Yes, good, enjoy.
Craig Foster, Tania Mihailuk. We've unfortunately run out of time.
Good to see you all.
We'll come back.
We'll come back next week. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend.